Stepping through adversity with ancient Stoic wisdom. Imagine standing alone in the middle of a storm. Winds tear at your clothes. The ground beneath you shifts. Nothing is certain. And yet, in that chaos, you remain still. You are not calm because the storm is over. You are calm because you know who you are within it. This is not fiction. This is what the Stoics trained for. They believed that adversity was not a curse to be avoided, but a forge where strength is shaped. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor facing wars, betrayal, and loss, wrote not about victory, but about the discipline of the mind. About staying anchored when the world collapses. When life feels out of control, the Stoic asks one question: what is mine to control? Not the weather. Not other people. Not outcomes. Only my thoughts, my choices, and my actions. The storm outside is less important than the storm within. You may not be an emperor, but your life is a battlefield of its own. Pressure. Doubt. Noise. But like Marcus, you can learn to lead yourself through it. Not with rage. Not with escape. But with clarity. Purpose. Inner strength. Every hardship you face can either define you or refine you. You choose which. Step into the storm not hoping for calm, but determined to emerge forged. That is where resilience begins. That is where your real story starts. Why Stoicism remains a guiding compass in a chaotic age. In a world that moves faster than thought and changes without warning. Many feel lost. News cycles never stop. Expectations multiply. Comparison is constant. The noise is deafening. But more dangerous than the noise outside is the silence inside. Most people no longer know what they stand for. They move, but without direction. This is where Stoicism matters. It is not a trend. It is a compass. Built on timeless principles. Stoicism teaches that clarity of values leads to clarity of action. When you know what you believe in, choices become easier. Distractions lose their power. Chaos does not shake someone who has chosen their inner path. Marcus Aurelius ruled one of the greatest empires in history, but he wrote not to command others, but to govern himself. In private notes he never meant to publish, he returned again and again to simple truths. Ask yourself, what do I control? What truly matters? What kind of person do I want to be? These questions are not ancient. They are urgent. Today more than ever, we need to reconnect with our values. We need to build lives not on trends or applause but on foundations that last. In doing so, we can find stability within movement, purpose within confusion. The world will not slow down. But you can stop chasing and start choosing. With Stoicism, you are not reacting. You are responding. You are not drifting. You are deciding. Mastering perception, the solid foundation of emotional stability. Perception is not passive. It is the first act of creation. Before you react to the world, you interpret it. You assign meaning. You decide whether something is a threat or an opportunity, a loss or a lesson. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He reminded himself daily that it is not events that disturb us but our judgments about them. If you believe someone's words define your worth, you suffer. If you believe failure defines your future, you hesitate. But if you train your mind to see differently, everything changes. Perception is power. The one who controls how they see the world controls how they move through it. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means facing it with clarity. It means choosing perspective over panic. The Stoics trained themselves to pause, observe their thoughts. And ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this helping me become who I want to be? Modern life overwhelms the untrained mind. It rewards speed, not depth. But depth is where strength is found. Practice stepping back. Practice observing without judgment. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. Mastering perception is the root of mastering yourself. From that root grows emotional stability, clarity, and confidence. Not because life is easy, but because your mind is ready. You do not control the world. But you can train the lens through which you see it. That is the beginning of freedom. Learning to let go of the uncontrollable to regain inner freedom. There are two battles in life. One is outside you. The other is within. Most people lose the inner one because they try to control what was never theirs. They fight reality. They resist change. They cling to outcomes. But the Stoic knows this is the source of suffering. What weighs you down is not the burden, but your unwillingness to release it. Marcus Aurelius faced death, disease, betrayal. Yet he wrote of peace. He reminded himself not to desire that events go his way but to make his way through whatever events arrive. Acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the strength to see life as it is and still move forward. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means choosing where to place your energy. You cannot control others. You cannot force the world to obey you. But you can choose your response. You can choose your focus. You can choose your character. Freedom begins the moment you stop demanding the world to be different. That moment is quiet but powerful. It creates space inside you. It gives you room to breathe. And from that space, you can act with clarity. Every day offers a choice. Resist or release. Complain or accept. Break or adapt. The Stoic chooses release. Not because they do not care, but because they care about what truly matters. That choice is the beginning of peace. That choice is the return to freedom. Touching the present moment, the antidote to anxiety and turmoil. The mind is a time traveler. It revisits past wounds. It races into future fears. But life only ever happens now. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Only this moment is real. The Stoics understood this deeply. They trained themselves to return to the present, again and again, because they knew the present is where clarity lives. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the present is all we own. The rest is memory or imagination. When you dwell in the past, you replay pain. When you obsess over the future, you borrow suffering. But when you ground yourself in the now, you regain control. You find breath. You find balance. Modern life pulls us away from presence. Screens. Notifications. Constant noise. But beneath the noise is a quiet place. The Stoic learns to reach it. They slow down. They observe. They remind themselves that this second, this breath, is enough. Being present does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters, fully. It means listening when someone speaks. Feeling when the sun hits your skin. Focusing on the step you are taking. Not the 100 after it. From presence comes power. Anxiety cannot live in the present. It needs a past to regret or a future to fear. The moment you return to now, you disarm it. Every time you choose presence, you build a mind that is less reactive and more resilient. The present is not a refuge. It is your true home. Humility and empathy, the quiet strengths few recognize. True strength is not loud. It does not need to prove itself. It listens before it speaks. It learns before it judges. The Stoics believe that real power begins with humility. To know how little we truly control. To accept that we are flawed. To remain teachable, always. Marcus Aurelius, though Emperor of Rome, constantly reminded himself that he was just a man. His writings show deep self-questioning. Before criticizing others, he asked where the same fault lived in himself. This is not weakness. This is discipline. It is the courage to look inward with honesty. Humility clears the path for empathy. When you no longer see yourself as superior, you begin to see others more clearly. Their struggles, their hopes, their pain. You realize that beneath roles and appearances, we are all human trying to endure. Empathy is not softness. It is the ability to hold space for others without losing yourself. It gives you the strength to support, the wisdom to forgive, and the grace to understand. In conflict, it seeks truth over victory. In suffering, it chooses compassion over distance. In a world that rewards ego and noise, humility and empathy are acts of quiet rebellion. They do not make you smaller. They make you deeper. When you live from this depth, you respond instead of react. You build bonds instead of barriers. And you grow not above others but beside them. Gratitude, the daily fuel for mental and emotional resilience. Gratitude is not about ignoring what is hard. It is about choosing what to focus on. The Stoics did not deny pain or difficulty. They simply refused to let hardship blind them to what still remained. Marcus Aurelius often began his reflections by remembering the gift of being alive. To breathe. To think. To love. These are not small things. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to notice what is present rather than what is missing. This shift is not just emotional. It is structural. It changes the way your brain processes experience. Over time, you become more aware, more grounded, more resilient. Gratitude does not erase grief. It sits beside it. It reminds you that even in loss, there is something left to hold on to. A lesson. A memory. A deeper understanding. Gratitude makes space for both joy and sorrow without being broken by either. In a world that always pushes for more, gratitude teaches contentment. Not complacency, but perspective. It teaches that you can strive and still appreciate. That ambition and presence can live together. That enough is not the end of growth but the beginning of peace. Begin simply. One moment each day. One thing you do not take for granted. Write it. Say it. Feel it. Let it change how you see your life. Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a discipline. A practice. A source of strength you carry into every challenge you face. Adversity does not hold you back, it is the launchpad for growth. Most people try to avoid discomfort. They wait for the perfect moment. They believe growth only happens when life is smooth. But the Stoics believed the opposite. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. Challenges are not blocks. They are openings. They test what you believe and reveal what you need to learn. Pain shows you where you are still fragile. Setbacks show you what matters most. Failure clears space for new attempts. If you only seek comfort, you miss these lessons. But if you step into discomfort with intention, you find strength you did not know you had. Growth is not born from ease. It is forged in friction. The pressure you feel is shaping you. It is asking you to rise, not retreat. You are not meant to escape life's weight but to carry it with greater clarity and resolve. Each time you endure, you become more capable. Each time you rise after falling, you prove to yourself that you are not defined by the fall. Adversity does not break you. It builds you. But only if you let it. Only if you show up fully and refuse to turn away. Putting reason in the driver's seat, when emotions no longer rule you. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals. But when they take control, they cloud judgment and distort reality. The Stoics did not seek to erase emotion. They sought to master it through reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Thought shapes emotion. Thought guides action. When you let reason lead, you create space between trigger and response. You ask questions before making assumptions. You pause before reacting. This is not coldness. It is clarity. You feel fully. But you do not let feelings dictate your path. Reason is not about logic alone. It is about alignment. Are your choices aligned with your values? Are your actions aligned with your purpose? Reason helps you steer when emotions try to drive you off course. You will still feel anger, fear, sadness. But you will not be ruled by them. You will see them. Understand them. Then choose your next step with intention. That is power. In chaos, emotion shouts. But reason listens. And listening leads to wiser action. When you strengthen reason, you strengthen self-control. You build a life that is not reactive but reflective. Not impulsive but intentional. Inner peace is a skill, not a stroke of luck. Most people think peace comes when problems disappear. But peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of stability. The Stoics believed that calm was something to be practiced, not waited for. Marcus Aurelius lived in the chaos of war, loss, and betrayal, yet he found stillness within. How? By mastering what he focused on. Inner peace begins with attention. What do you feed your mind? What do you rehearse in thought? When you constantly relive fears or chase every distraction, you scatter your energy. But when you return to what matters, you reclaim your center. This practice requires intention. Stillness does not come from silence around you but from order inside you. It means choosing not to be pulled by every opinion, every emotion, every demand. It means building rituals that ground you: reflection, journaling, silence, breath. Peace is a result of structure. Not rigidity, but rhythm. A life where your values shape your day and your actions follow purpose. This kind of peace does not vanish in crisis. It deepens. Because it was not built on ease. It was forged in awareness and discipline. You will not always control what happens. But you can always control how deeply you are rooted. That depth, practiced and chosen, is where true peace begins. The journey of releasing expectations and finding inner steadiness. Expectations are silent contracts we create with life. We imagine how things should go. How others should act. How success should look. And when reality does not meet the script, we suffer. The Stoics saw this clearly. Pain often arises not from what happens but from what we thought should happen. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to meet life as it is, not as he wished it to be. He reminded himself that events are neutral. It is our judgment that gives them weight. By letting go of fixed expectations, he found freedom, not freedom from effort, but freedom from emotional chaos. Letting go does not mean not caring. It means caring wisely. It means doing your part with full presence, then releasing the outcome. You do not control all variables. But you do control how deeply you invest in the process itself. When you release the need for control, you discover steadiness. A kind of peace that does not depend on results. A strength that holds firm even when the world does not cooperate. This is not passivity. It is precision. A focused mind, not a clenched one. The journey is daily. Observe your expectations. Question them. Adjust them. Let them go when they no longer serve. Inner steadiness is not built in a day. It is built moment by moment. Each time you choose presence over prediction. Do not stop, move forward with gratitude and clear direction. Progress does not always feel like victory. Sometimes it feels like quiet persistence. A single step taken when no one is watching. The Stoics did not celebrate noise. They honored consistency. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that even the smallest act aligned with virtue was a step toward strength. In a world obsessed with outcomes, Stoicism focuses on intention. Why are you moving? Are you chasing approval or expressing purpose? When you move with clarity, each step counts. When you pair that with gratitude, you create momentum rooted in meaning. Gratitude fuels you when progress is slow. It reminds you of how far you have come, not just how far you have to go. Direction gives your energy a channel. Without it, effort scatters. But with direction, even a slow pace moves you forward. Do not underestimate quiet effort. Small disciplines. Repeated actions. Days when you show up even when you feel nothing. This is the work. This is the foundation. The Stoic path is not about intensity but integrity. Every day you decide again. To stay in motion. To honor your values. To be shaped by purpose, not pressure. You may stumble. You may doubt. But if you keep choosing forward, you are not lost. You are becoming. Building an unbreakable inner core, through habits, not fortune. No one is born resilient. Strength is not given. It is built. Day by day. Choice by choice. The Stoics knew this. They believed that inner power does not arrive by chance. It is the result of repeated action guided by principle. Marcus Aurelius did not wait for peace. He practiced it. In the middle of chaos. In the face of fear. What you do consistently becomes who you are. A single act of courage means little without repetition. One calm response will fade without follow-through. But when you return again and again to your values, they become part of your nature. Habits shape your identity. They are the architecture of resilience. Waking up with purpose. Reflecting at night. Speaking truth. Practicing patience. Each is a brick. Each strengthens the foundation. This path is not flashy. It will not impress the crowd. But it will fortify your soul. You will not need to appear strong. You will be strong. Not in the way of pride, but in the way of presence. Calm. Steady. Rooted. Do not wait to feel ready. Start with what you can control. Choose one habit that reflects who you want to be. Practice it without excuse. Then build from there. Resilience is not an event. It is a lifestyle. A silent discipline that becomes visible when life shakes. Knowing what you live for, reorienting the path you're walking. Most people are busy, but few are clear. They move fast but without direction. They achieve goals but forget to ask if those goals matter. The Stoics believed that a meaningful life is not measured by achievement, but by alignment. When your actions reflect your values, life feels whole. When they do not, even success feels empty. Marcus Aurelius returned again and again to a simple question. What is the right thing to do? Not the easiest. Not the most rewarding. The right one. Because meaning is not found. It is chosen. It is created through the way you live, not the results you chase. To know what you live for, you must slow down. Reflect. Ask yourself what matters to you more than approval. More than comfort. More than speed. Name your core values. Then examine your life. Do your habits reflect them? Do your choices point to them? This process is not instant. It is uncomfortable. But it is also freeing. When you know what you live for, you stop living by accident. You move with intention. Even when life changes, your direction stays true. Purpose is not a destination. It is a compass. A quiet clarity in a noisy world. Return to it often. Let it shape your steps. A life built on purpose does not guarantee ease. But it does offer depth. And depth is where meaning begins. Stepping into fear, the place where you truly grow. Fear often appears as a wall. It says stop here. Go no further. But fear is not the end. It is a doorway. The Stoics did not aim to eliminate fear. They aimed to face it, study it, and move through it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that what we fear most is often the very thing we need to do next. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens at the edge. At the moment when your hands shake. But you step forward anyway. When your voice trembles, but you speak your truth. That edge is where the false self breaks, and the true self begins to rise. You do not overcome fear by thinking it away. You overcome it by walking toward it. Slowly. Steadily. With clarity. You ask what it is teaching you. What value it is protecting. What part of yourself it wants to keep small. Then you choose to expand. Each step into fear builds courage. Not the absence of fear, but the strength to act in its presence. You realize fear is not a wall. It is a test. It asks who you are and who you are willing to become. This is your invitation. Do not wait until you feel brave. Begin now. Choose one fear and meet it. Let discomfort become your teacher. Let resistance become your signal. Step forward. That is where growth lives. That is where you meet your future self.